Have you ever wanted more power, more respect, more control, only to realize too late that the more you reached for, the more you lost? This is the story of an emperor who ruled an entire empire, yet ended up with nothing. Because sometimes, the greatest loss comes from wanting too much. Long ago, in a vast kingdom surrounded by fertile land and golden cities, there lived an emperor named Aurelian. He was not born cruel. In fact, he was admired. Aurelian believed a strong ruler must never stop expanding. More land, more wealth, more obedience. He said yes to every ambition and no to every warning. When generals asked for soldiers, he gave them thousands. When advisors demanded higher taxes, he approved them. When nobles wanted favors, he granted them all. The empire praised him for his generosity and strength. But slowly, without realizing it, Aurelian stopped ruling his empire and became a servant to his own desires. The treasury began to empty. Villages were left unprotected. Roads crumbled. Farmers grew tired. Yet the emperor kept chasing more. Every night, he returned to his palace exhausted, studying maps of lands he had not yet conquered, while ignoring the cracks forming within his own walls. His old tutor once asked him, "My emperor, when will you protect what you already have?" Aurelian smiled and said, "Soon, after just one more victory." Then came the Great Campaign. Aurelian marched his army far beyond the empire's borders, leaving the capital weak and exposed. While he fought for more land, rebellions rose behind him. Merchants stopped trading. The people began to starve. By the time the emperor returned victorious, his empire was already falling apart. One night, as riots echoed beyond the palace walls, Aurelian sat alone on the cold throne, realizing he had conquered everything except wisdom. The next morning, he visited an old monk who lived beside a quiet river outside the city. Aurelian asked, "Why do I feel empty after gaining so much?" The monk pointed to the river and said, "This river feeds the land, but when it tries to take more than its banks can hold, it floods and destroys everything." Then he looked at the emperor and said, "Desire without limits becomes destruction." For 7 days, the monk continued, "Do not expand. Do not demand. Do not take. Protect what you already have." At first, it felt wrong. Generals demanded new campaigns. Nobles demanded wealth. Aurelian said, "Not today." Some were shocked. Others were angry. But the empire began to breathe again. He restored the treasury, repaired the roads, reduced the burden on his people. For the first time, the emperor felt something unfamiliar. Peace. Weeks passed. The rebellion stopped. The people returned to work. The empire grew stronger, not wider. One evening, the monk visited the palace and asked, "Did the empire collapse when you stopped wanting more?" Aurelian smiled and said, "No. It finally became whole." And that is the lesson. Wanting more does not always mean growing. Sometimes it means losing. Power needs limits, ambition needs wisdom. And knowing when to stop is what separates rulers from destroyers. Remember this: wanting everything can cost you everything.
Building this Akai story reminds me something very important. We often lose ourselves trying to be the hero of other people's story, while our own story has not even yet started. During that process, we lose ourselves not to be able to figure out what the future holds for us. And in this story is telling us that when you are trying to build others, try to also develop yourself. In case if the people that you are trying to build forgets you, you can also hold yourself accountable and say that, yes, even though they forget me, I'm still doing well for myself. And my name is Joshua. I'm the face behind this channel. Subscribe to see more videos like this in the future.